In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to logically negotiate and maximize the offer. Congratulations. You passed all the interviews and the company has made you a verbal offer. They've said, we would like to make you an offer. Please tell us your salary expectations. The first key is stack the facts. It's very common that I'll interview someone and they won't know their compensation, which is a little surprising sometimes, even for executives. They know their business numbers so well, but they don't know their individual income numbers so well. And it's easy to just sort of slip into the consistency of life and forget the specific amounts that you're being paid because the bills get paid and keep the family happy, etc. So it's okay. But it really is important when you're entering this phase of the process to know your numbers and stack the facts. So what do I mean by that? Base salary. How much of your salary is fixed? Okay, this is usually going to be divided by 12 months. So whatever that number is that you're paid on a monthly basis times 12 usually is the base salary. Some companies divide it by more than 12 months. For example, Japanese companies divide their base salary by 16 or 18 months. And so each summer and winter, they'll get a few months worth of their base salary as a guaranteed bonus. So this can vary from company to company, but chances are your base salary is going to be whatever your monthly salary is times 12. But whatever that portion of your total compensation is, that's your fixed base salary, that is what I'm referring to as base. Okay. Then we have bonus. This can be called performance incentive. It could be called short-term incentive. It could be called target bonus. And that term is key because when comparing offers, we want to be looking at apples to apples. And that apples to apples is target versus target. So your target bonus means at 100% of agreed performance metrics, etc., you will receive X, usually it's X percentage of your base salary. So let's say, for simplicity, your base salary is $100,000 or roughly 10 million yen equivalent. That means that if then your target bonus is 20%, that means if you meet the agreed targets of performance, your bonus will be $20,000 or roughly 2 million yen. Today's exchange rate is pretty whack at the time of recording this video, but I use these numbers for simplicity to give you an example and follow my logic. Okay, so 100,000 or 10 million yen base salary with the 20% target bonus gives you a total target salary of $120,000 or 12 million yen. Now there can be accelerators to that. So let's say you achieve 80% of your target performance milestones or metrics, then that means that you'll get 80% of that 20%. Okay, 80% of that $20,000 or that 2 million yen. Okay, and sometimes that can go as high as 120% or even higher. Some pharmaceutical companies have up to 180% bonus of that target. So what you want to look at, regardless of whether your actual bonus is less than that or more than that, is the target bonus. Okay. If for some reason your performance is low, or perhaps your performance is based, your bonus is based not only on your performance, but also or your company's performance, it could be a mixture of the two. But the good news is we're going to be negotiating based on target. The bad news is that if your performance is really high, you or your company's performance is really high above target, we will not be able to always negotiate based on that higher amount because, again, we want to look at apples to apples, not apples and oranges. Apples to apples meaning target versus target, not actual versus target. This is a really important consideration because sometimes when I'm interviewing a candidate who is doing really well or whose company has done really, really well, they will be accustomed to a recently higher than average salary because of their companies, because their bonus has been significantly over that target amount. So what that means is that when a new company offers them what would be target to target a good increase, which is 8% or more, okay, that's the benchmark, 8% increase or more, that number becomes less because the target salary of their new company will be only slightly more than their current actual total salary. So in other words, a high performance, higher than target performance of your current salary creates a kind of a bubble. And that emotionally can make you feel like, oh, you're not getting that great of an offer. But in reality, when we look at target versus target, an 8% or a higher increase is good. That's on average. Okay, so going from an established company to an established company. If you're going from a big company to a smaller company, there's more risk involved. Smaller companies, generally less stable, don't have as much capital or financing as a big company does. Therefore, 10% is a better metric in those cases. Compare that to a yearly incremental increase or raise of between 1 to 5%, 5% per year being on the much higher end, 1% being on the lower end, and average is probably 2 to 3% with good performance. Again, this can vary, and I don't have any market research or official documents or intelligence to back this up. So disclaimer, this is just from my observations as a headhunter of 15 years. That seems to be about the range, 1 to 5% incremental increase, staying in your current company. If you're not getting that, there may be an issue with your company's performance evaluation system. You may be able to negotiate for more if you haven't had a raise for a number of years. These are kind of fine-tuned sort of details that you're going to want to talk to a professional about, whether you want to book a coaching call through this program or consult a career coach, recruiter through your own network, because that's going to get into a much more personalized sort of approach to negotiating your salary. But hopefully these benchmarks give you a sense of what the averages are and where you stand against them. Okay? Join me for the second part in the next video.